TPE Network. Fun yet informative podcasts.
Hello and welcome to Mouse House Plus, episode 46. I'm Hank.
And I'm John.
And we are the newest members of the Tracksuit Mafia. Those on YouTube can see our outfits. We're not matching, but we at least have tracksuits on.
Yeah, bro.
And we're ready to move people if they need it. So I love it. Well, John, there was a lot to get to in this episode. Do you want to jump right in?
Oh, yes, let's do this. I mean, yeah, bro, come on.
Not bad. All right. So this episode was titled Ronin. We get a 2018 flashback of Yelena and another Black Widow trying to help a woman, but the woman is not brainwashed after all. Did you have any inkling that woman was going to do that, where she's like, what are you doing? Like, you ruined my rug.
No, I do like that entire rug thing, though. But, no, I actually had no idea what was going on. I didn't realize. I'm like, oh, that's right. I totally forgot. They're running around trying to free up all the Black Widows. But, yeah, that was good. She's like, you know how expensive this rug is? And that's the only thing that was going on with all that. So it was good.
The only thing I thought was odd about that is they didn't do anything to where I thought Yelena was going to be like, oh, you kill for money, and then take her out or something. And instead she was just like, oh, okay. You know, she wasn't really, that she's changed, but she hadn't changed that much, I guess, is what it was.
Yeah, and it's it was nice. I really wish we got a little bit more from the other Black Widow that was there. But and then they're sitting down and they're just like going through like, oh, and this person's here and this person's there, and it's a fun little reunion that they were having. But exactly whenever they're like, well, where did you get this house? And she was like, it's my house. She was like, you're messing up my stuff, people. Oh, I'm sorry. I said that wrong. You're messing up my stuff, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Bro.
What I thought was really well done was when she goes into the bathroom and she's dusted and then she's back in a flash, but it's been 5 years later. That really gave me that anxiety and that kind of confusion almost. Like, she portrayed very well, like, what the heck? She's watching the walls. They look like they're changing colors and stuff like that. And it was really well done. What did you think?
I think that this was what we needed. Now we've actually seen what it looks like when the snap happened to someone that was part of the 50%. So we get to see it from their perspective, which basically was like an instantaneous, and it was neat because you're right. Because when the walls kind of all started doing the dusting, but it was changing underneath of it. So that's more or less what it looks like, to that person that it happened to. So I'm actually very happy that happened because it was something that I was wondering.
And then that Anna woman that whose house it was, she's still into the contract life, and Yelena's so confused that she's like, I've got to find Natasha. And you're thinking to yourself, that's going to be harder than you think.
Yeah.
You must have passed each other.
Well, I don't know. I just know what gets me is that how everyone in the world knows about Natasha being dead. I mean, but does anyone... okay, so you're like, okay, she died during this. Did anyone actually explain when she died? Or are they just trying to say, oh, she died during the battle? Because if they had this big reveal of like, look, I'm like, it wasn't even a fact that she sacrificed herself so we can obtain something. And I think that would have cleared a lot of things up with everybody. But, I mean... I guess you don't want to give that planet away or something like that. I'm not quite sure. I mean, does the world know that it was the Infinity Gauntlet that did this?
I have no idea. And like you just said, the whole story of her believing that he killed Natasha is so ridiculous to me that I'm just like, why would you even go down that road? Like, why wouldn't you investigate further and try to get more information? Or, I don't know, just ask him what transpired, and just be like, hey, did did you kill my sister? Or, or something. Ask some questions. I just think the whole premise of this situation is so weird and so vague that somebody like that you would assume would just be like, no, I'm not falling for this. I'm going to do some more research or investigating.
Well, another thing I could think of is maybe at some point in time we'll get an episode of something that will help explain, like when they came back, the Avengers kind of unfolding of this is what happened, guys. Like, it happened here. We tried to stop it. We failed. We went fix it. I mean, but at the same time, so then you're like, okay, well, we figured out how to do time travel, and we flew to like a planet that was like on the other side of the galaxy, and we are dealing with like specters of people. I mean, it almost sounds totally unbelievable. Then Hawkeye just saying, oh, he killed her. But I mean, if everyone disappeared, you gotta expect something weird is going on there. So I really don't know. I'd like to see the story that was given to this world's news.
And they're both on the Avengers.
Yeah.
So what's another situation where you've outside of Civil War where you saw them fight each other, but did regular people see them fighting each other or just the government?
It's a really good question. I don't know. I really wish that I think they're going to have to get to them explaining this a little bit more now.
Yeah.
Because it's
kind of doesn't make sense.
Going off the assumption that, Hawkeye killed her. Why would you guys let that go like that? Because it just, is making Hawkeye look bad this entire time.
Most certainly. And I think they've done a terrible job of just trying to make him look like he's just this terrible assassin that has done all this stuff, but yet a Black Widow gets the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? Like,
well, hold on. I don't necessarily agree with you on that, because he actually even compares himself to her. He's like, because in the last episode he was like, we are tools. We are tools to kill people. This is what we do. And they're like, oh no, you save people. He goes, I wasn't trained to save people. I was trained to kill people. And I went back to doing that after I lost my family because I had to get that anger out somehow. So, and that's why he's trying to like communicate that to Echo and probably whatever her name is. I keep thinking of her name is Elena. Isn't it Elena?
Yelena.
All right. Well, they that will be the story that he ends up telling her. I have no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, Maya is getting patched up by Kazi, and he talks to her about her obsession with Ronin. Did you feel like something was cooking at this point from his end of things, as far as did you think he was up to something? Or because I had totally overlooked him, I'm going to be honest.
No, I think that he was up to something from the get-go, considering that he was playing the cool, nonchalant person, and specifically Hawkeye, cornered him to talk to him about her. So, because she knows that he's the more level head of the two, and that just means that, okay, well, there's more going on here than just what we're seeing.
Okay. All right, so our new Black Widow shows up at Kate's, and she made macaroni. That whole sequence was creepy, but it was really well acted and kind of nervously funny, if that makes sense.
Oh, I was smiling the entire time because I love it when she sit down and she's like, look, she's like, well, if I was going to kill you, she's like, yeah, you would have killed me when I came down. They're like finishing each other's sentences. Like, yeah, as soon as I open up the door, I'd be dead. And then she's like, yeah, I'm sitting here offering you macaroni and cheese. So let's talk about this. But I enjoyed all that. That whole transaction between the two of them where she's being super nonchalant and Kate is like, just shell-shocked. Oh, by the way, and then I messaged you right when I was watching it. Do you remember my message I sent you?
You said something about you didn't recognize her with her hair down or something?
That's the first time I've seen her with her hair down.
Okay.
So, and I'm like, and at first I was like, who's this? And then as soon as she started talking, I was like, "Ooh!" But because she's always had her hair up. I mean, every single thing that we've seen her in the MCU, her hair has been up.
Yeah,
So
you're not wrong.
Seeing her hair with the hair down, I was like, man, she is like a completely different person with her hair down.
You're right. They did that on purpose. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, and I agree with that. It's just that I was really surprised. I mean, it threw me off.
And then why do you have one fork? I'm one person, so hence the one fork. That was so funny.
Oh, and then she's like pulling out the plastic stuff, and she's like, "This is not cutlery." And I'm like, "Who uses cutlery?"
And then when she kept lying, she was like, "I don't have any weapons." No, that's not true. I don't have any weapons currently in my hand. Well, that's not true. I was like, this is good.
What was it? I don't have any weapons. That's a lie. I don't have any weapons in my hands, on me. And then she goes, and then she looks down at her wrist, and she's like, well, that's a lie too.
That's a lie
okay,
too.
I don't have any weapons in my hands currently.
And she kind of did. She had a fork.
Yep.
a spork. All right, Clint goes to see Grills. Who here, show of hands, was happy to see Grills return? And not only does he return, he's been thinking of a name for the dog, but he gets cut off. I loved that. I loved it.
Oh, I'm glad that they were bringing him back into this whole thing, and especially when they're like, "Oh, what about the costume?" We're like, "Oh yeah, let's go for the costume," and you're like, "Not right now." Like, oh. So that means one more episode and we get costumes.
Yeah, the last episode, amazing. Now, hot sauce on mac and cheese. Can we debate that right now? Because gross.
I'm not a fan of it, but I know people who do that. But then she would just like, "Are you done? You're done? Okay, good." I'm like, why don't you just open up the bottle and just dump it in there? Because you're just going to town with this stuff.
Ugh, gross.
Yeah.
I've seen people put jalapenos in mac and cheese as well.
No, my stepdad is. Well, you know what? That I could see that being kind of good because I mean it's not a sauce, but I mean you're eating because I mean it's just like pepper. People put pepper in
Get
it.
a little heat.
But my stepdad always put like hot sauce and butter and hot sauce on his pizza. So yeah, it gets weird. Yeah, hey, not me, not a fan of either of the two on my pizza.
I'm glad that you did not co-sign that. Thank you. Yelena wants to see landmarks in New York. You know, bloodthirsty vigilante. The regular stuff. I like that.
It's just showing that she's still a normal person. She's there for a job, but this is funny because in my industry, everyone, if you didn't know, I work in the biotech industry, and in my past job, I always found it fun whenever we had auditors come. It didn't matter from a different country because the product that we had was in I think 52 different countries. And every now and then you get one. And it was always great because they'd be like, "Oh, we're going to be there for a week." And then they'd come for 2 days. And then they were like, "All right, well, we're going to go to D.C. now and sightsee for the next 3 days." So I totally believe this. She's here for a job, but guess what? She's going to take the opportunity to check out New York while she's there.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
No. Oh, I want to take a moment here, and in the background here, see, we get Cake's corkboard. Whenever she had because as we're going through everything, and in here we actually get to see that it's the year 2024, which I did not know that, and I should have known that because there's a 5-year jump, but I mean it's official now. We know exactly what year it is because she has it up on the board.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I wish they would do that more often, but I understand why they don't because they don't want to paint themselves into too detailed of a corner. Mm-hmm. So I totally get why they don't do that more often, but it was great to see that.
Yeah.
And then she throws in also, I'm here to kill Clint. Just as an aside. That was always good. And then they argue over who saved the world. I thought that was great. It sounds like me and you. Who did this? I did it. No, I did it. No, I did it. No, I did it. And it's like, okay, interesting. Then they argue over Clint's past and his motives, and girls' night is over after that. And she gives her that whole, the trope, don't get in my way again until she gets in her way again, you know.
I personally like the how long have you known him for? And then she's like I was waiting for her to be like, long enough, but she's like 1 week. But you know what? And this scene, I would have just asked her, like, well, how long have you known him for? She's going to say, I don't know him, but I know enough about him because of reading. But like, yeah, but you don't know him.
That'd have been good.
So I mean, honestly, I think that was a missed opportunity for, 22. Well, she's 22, right?
Yeah.
22-year-old girl. I'm pretty sure even in that kind of situation, as we saw her being witty, in the couple earlier episodes with her mom, why wouldn't she just kick something like that back at her? I mean,
Right.
I feel that would have been a natural thing for her to do.
Most certainly. Grills offers Hawkeye his couch. And the part of that I was like, wait a minute, didn't he say he already has a hotel? So what, does he got to pay for that first night and then cancel? Or how's that going to work out?
Yeah, I imagine that New York is going to be nice about just canceling stuff and crediting money back. So
Exactly. But in that game, I'm sure he has a bunch of money he didn't earn.
Yep.
Eleanor called the police on Jack. And Jack is just sitting there being Jack. And then he, in an aside, he mentions he dated a Sloan and she was a nightmare. And I just about jumped out of my seat because I was like, what? Is this all coming back around? And it does appear it is all coming back around. Let me ask you this. Is Jack an unwitting foil, or is he a criminal mastermind who is going to be a... You really believe it? Because I believed it at first, but now it looks like he's just kind of like got set up.
I mean,
a security firm owner doesn't do a background check on every person she comes into contact with. Like somebody, especially somebody you're going to date.
Yeah, but think about this. If she had not called the cops on him, then why, with the fact that Kate and Hawkeye had already found all this information out on him. I mean, to not do anything at all would look suspicious on her mom's side. So maybe she did that on purpose, to get the ball. But you know what? All right. I'll take that back. I'm thinking about what you said. You're right. Now it seems like he's an unwitting dupe in all this she's just using his company as the laundering company, just like how. Okay. All right. I changed my answer. I agree with you.
Awesome, we're winning. So I love how he was just talking like, I'll be back before Christmas and stuff. I've never worked a day in my life.
Yeah.
But when he said, I almost had to give it to you, John, because when he said he dated a Sloan and she was a nightmare, get it? He's Mephisto.
Yes.
Duh. Makes so much sense now, right?
Look, when Mephisto comes up, I'm just gonna explode. That's it. You're gonna probably have to find a new person to podcast with because I will just be like that. My head will just.
It was Mephisto all along instead of Agatha. That's what they'll do. All right, Clint goes to a memorial to talk to Natasha, and he's sorry for what he's about to do. Did you get the sense that he was apologizing for killing her sister in advance?
No, I don't think it has anything to do with her sister. I just think it has the repercussions of him going back to that life. Because remember, in Endgame, it was a very big deal that he basically became this killer, and he didn't want to go back to the Avengers because of that fact. And whenever Black Widow basically calls him out, he's a changed person by now, and I have a feeling that he's apologizing to her because he was trying to correct his ways, but now he has to go back to him again. But I like this. I like the memorial, by the way. That was pretty cool. Neat. So that means that where that is outside of the area where they gathered, which everyone in their head we know exactly what that looks like. So that was a nice callback to the first Avengers movie.
I agree. Kate leaves about a dozen messages for Clint, and then that moment when she does that coin like flip and just messes something up, that was great. That she is still got that down.
Yeah, I think she took out a TV.
That was awesome.
Yeah, she's like, oh, crap. Oh, yeah, but you know what? There you go. This like crazy teenager just blowing up his phone. I love the last one. She's like, and you know what? You're making me call you this many times. This is your fault. And I'm like, that is crazy ex-girlfriend talk right there. 100%. And yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's pretty funny. Now as soon as we see Trust a Bro moving come into frame, and they start talking about Run DMC and stuff, I was like, these guys are so great. I absolutely love them. That's why John and I both joined the Tracksuit Mafia, because you can't have a ride along without a conversation about music or something along those lines.
Well, I mean, and I just have this crazed feeling to say bro all the time.
Hey, come on, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Bro. Let's move along, bro. And then that's when that messenger arrow comes through the window, but not far enough to kill him. That was hilarious because it's got a little opening down there, and you get the little note. Oh my gosh, I love it.
What did he do? He unrolled it and then he read it, and he was like, and then he did something dumb right there, and the other guy like smacked him. What did he do?
Didn't he say we're not Maya? We're not Maya.
Yeah.
Maya, come to the thing. We're not Maya.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yep.
I was getting a headache sitting on the couch. Oh my gosh, they're funny.
Well, bros are gonna be bros.
That is true, bro. Clint calls home and he tells Laura everything, and he says it's only a matter of time before the big guy gets involved. And I mean, and then in that next scene we see Fat Man Used Cars. They were just basically spelling it out, weren't they?
Oh, their baiting tactics right here are just perfect. And I don't know why they keep on like saying that over and over again, but this entire like conversation that they have is great because you get to see that, you know, the relationship that he has with his wife, that she basically understands. And I mean, she says that line like, "I'll always understand better than anyone ever could." So that's that right there in a nutshell is their relationship, and that she trusts him, that he's always, you know, out and about doing stuff. So I like this. I like this family meshing here. This is giving, you know, him more, making him more human. I mean, we already is seeing that he's more human because he's getting the crap beat out of him, but you know, he has relationships. He has, you know, a full family. So I like this. This is humanizing him.
2 quick questions. 1, how far out of the way is the family as far as location? And then 2, could Laura be our MCU version of Mockingbird?
Bro, I'm gonna say Oregon. So because they're on the East Coast, and he's like, you're as far away as you could be, but clearly they're somewhere in the United States. So I'm gonna say Oregon or like Montana or something like north and west. And what was the other one?
Could Laura, his wife, be the MCU version of Mockingbird?
Absolutely, bro. Because it's one of those things. Look, she found all this information out for him. Also, how could someone, you know, be a wife and know that he's going and doing all this stuff and not understand it, just like in that line? So I totally believe that she was Mockingbird at one point in time, but right now she's not because she's mom with kids.
Okay. That'd be cool if they were in Alaska or something.
I mean, but at the same time, well, yeah, but everyone wasn't running around with jackets on all the time. But you know what? She's not a bro, so, you know, bros are bros, bro.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, the Tracksuit Mafia gets destroyed while Kazi's up high with the rifle, and he gets served instantaneously. I mean, how do you not know that this trained assassin is going to check all high spots before coming down for the meat? And then didn't the Tracksuit Mafia guy shoot himself in the foot?
Yeah, that was good. But you know what? This was a little bit unbelievable. yes, I realize he's a trained assassin, but he was taking people out so quick. It was like one person here fall over, but then all of a sudden someone over on this side was like, stuck underneath the car. You're like, unless he had
Batman.
traps. Yeah, unless he had traps set up, which it didn't. They purposely made it to look like he didn't because he kept getting up and, you would see him run and she would shoot at him. That was the only part in this entire episode that I was not a fan of. Due to that, I was like, I don't believe it. I mean, you're basically making it look like you've got a team of people here that are taking these out. I know he's fast, but he's not the Flash.
No. Then it's fight time, and after they have a nice fight, he shows her his face and threatens her. I was like, ooh, I don't think I would have took that hood off. Would you have?
He's trying to put an end to this, and being that Kate saw that Echo has information on his family. I think that he's really trying to get that point across. He's like, look, coming after me is one thing. I know that you're trying to deal with my family. I will outright just murder you. Don't mess with me. I get it. Right. I think that what he did was appropriate for that situation. Because even if he turned around and was like, don't, leave the Barton family alone, that would make me wonder, okay, why is he so hung up on that? So showing his face to put an end to this is a good idea.
My only thing about this whole sequence was, why did he have to come there as Ronin? He's already told her that Ronin's dead and the person that killed Ronin is dead. Why not just come as himself?
I believe
Hawkeye himself.
I believe it's because this is what she wants.
Okay.
She purposely wants to kill Ronin, and she's already after Hawkeye. So if Ronin didn't show up, she would still be after Hawkeye. Now, seeing that they are both in the same person, then she's only targeting one instead of two. Because because clearly we know that she doesn't believe that Ronin is dead. So.
Right, true.
Yeah.
Then when he reveals that her boss wanted her father dead, that's when she gets the drop on him. But Kate saves the day, and then they go off and talk. But that was a crazy, he kind of let his guard down sequence where he's like, your boss is the one that wanted your dad dead. And she was like, no, it can't be, it can't be true. But we're going to see in just a minute that, in fact, she kind of absorbed that information.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So Kate called an Uber as their escape plan.
Dude, genius. Absolutely genius.
Do you have an escape plan? Yeah, here it is. Hey, are you?
Genius, man.
Great.
It was great. It was perfect.
And then Maya confronts Kazi about the night her dad was killed, and I was like, he is a dirtbag. Now you get it, because why weren't you at the meet that night? Oh, I must have missed the call. I was like, that's the best you could come up with.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the other part with that too is it's you trying to basically say, I didn't just murder your dad because I wanted to murder you. Someone paid me to do that, which, by the way, kind of twists this Ronin thing, because I really thought that Ronin was just going out and taking out bad guys. I didn't realize that he was doing that as well as a hitman for hire. But,
right.
I mean, he does explain to her that, he's just a killer. He is a tool for other people to use. It makes it look a little bit different. It makes it go from he is killing people out of the hatred of what happened to his family to, now he's a man for hire. Although I guess at the same time, he got to make money somehow.
Yeah, I was in your boat because I thought he was just like trying to clean up the streets and get his rage out on terrible people. And that's what I had always thought until this episode. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. But, do I want to get it?
All right. Hey, I have an update on the location because while we've been talking here, I've been looking it up. It's
Good.
in Missouri.
Really? Okay, yeah. Missouri.
Well, that's the first one. Hold on, there's a second one? Where's the second one?
They got houses everywhere.
No. It's still the same place in Missouri.
Okay.
It's just,
Missouri?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, Kate tells Clint who the other woman is. as she walks around once again with a bow and arrows in town.
I mean, I feel that we should try this. You walk around Michigan, like downtown Michigan, like major metropolis that you're closest to, and just put a bow on. And then what you should do is just get the end fletching so it looks like you got arrows, because then you won't get in trouble. But see how many times you get stopped, because I feel like I need to run around downtown here in Maryland and do the exact same thing, because clearly you could do it in New York and no one cares.
No one cares.
Yeah.
I don't think that would go over too well here.
Well, yeah, but you don't know unless you try. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You don't know if you don't try, bro.
All right, now our new Black Widow follows Eleanor. And then I say the new Avengers have breakfast and dog training time until the new Black Widow texts Kate that her mom hired her. And here's the image of, here's the whole situation of who she's talking to and everything, and sends a pic of the big guy, Kingpin from Spider-Man, or for Daredevil, Spider-Man comics, Daredevil Netflix series. Just amazing moment, man. Amazing moment.
All right, key thing to point out here is he is holding a cane, which is one of the trademark things that Kingpin always had. He had his diamond-topped cane, and he could use that as a weapon. We did not see that in Daredevil, but we did see that in the Daredevil crap movie because they had that right there.
Yeah.
So this is they're even bringing it even more realistic. So I cannot wait to hear Vincent just step back in that role. But I was reading this article of him taking this role, and he's basically saying that, look, he felt that he owns that character and there shouldn't be anybody else playing that character besides him. And considering that we saw that one scene where he takes that guy and smashes his head in the door, yes, he needs to stay the Kingpin, because I need more of that kind of violence to come out of him, because it's always over the top stuff, and he's just, I'm a bad, just squish your brains out. We need that. We need more of that.
Let me ask you this, John. Do you think I'm pretty sure this is only slated for one season, but do you think we get more seasons of this series after this revelation?
You're gonna have to ask me after this next episode. However, this next episode ends.
We'll all know by then.
Why do you think that they would? Oh, because they may have a credit scene said that the Hawkeye will return in something. You know what? I honestly don't know where they're going with it right now. I mean, clearly he wants to be out of the game. So, I don't know. I don't think so.
They have 5 or more threads to wrap up in one episode. And it's that's a lot. And even if the episode's 45 minutes, 50 minutes, that's still a lot of storytelling.
Yeah, but they can, if they do a Daredevil series or whatever, I mean, anything that happens in New York outside of, I guess, clearly Spider-Man and what's going on with him. Oh, I just remembered something. I'll get to it in a second. But everything, there's so many characters and so many series that are actually taking place in New York. This storyline can jump over and continue off somebody else, because clearly all he wants to do, Hawkeye wants to do, is wrap up his Ronin thing, and he's kind of being drugged into this other part. But I could see him being all right, I will give you support, but we need to find some other help for you. Yeah. And that's what I could think. Okay, so I just remembered, when we're at the table, with the macaroni and cheese girls, she says, "Oh, I want to go see the new and improved Statue in Liberty," which is what we end up seeing in Spider-Man, because is when they're turning it into the Captain America with the shield and everything. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa, that's a deep call out that they did right there. Unless you know that the Statue of Liberty is being, we know that because we saw it in a trailer. That's the only way that I'm able to piece, two and two together when it comes to this. But that was a good job of making sure that this story connects to Spider-Man.
I like it. Good one. Well, they outro with the Grinch. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. What are you giving this episode? rating wise.
I gave it the first time last time. You give it
Oh,
first this time.
I really enjoyed this episode. Yes, does it have holes and such? Of course it does. But the call out at the end just had me over the moon. There were some good sequences in there, and we had a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and give this an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I was thinking 8 for mine. Really, the only issue that I had, and that's what I told you, was the whole let's take out the bros so quickly, and that's unbelievable. I mean, I almost want to go be like, okay, hey guys, I want you all to stand here and let's see how quickly I can just touch you and get to the next person.
What about Batman? What about Batman movies? They do the same thing. He does the same stuff.
But Batman also has grapples that he ends up throwing. Most of the time when those people come down, it's not a hand grabbing him and jerking him back. We haven't really seen Hawkeye do anything with any trips. So if you're going to be drugged underneath a car like that, clearly he's got his hands on you.
Or does he? Or does he have some trick gadget that does like Batman?
Yeah, he's got a boomerang arrow, bro, and he basically just shoots it and is hitting these guys on the way back. And he's like, let me use my one of those arrows that has a grapple, and I can pull you in. I mean, I feel that if they were going to do that, we would see
they'd have showed it.
That. Yeah, because they're always showing his trick arrows, but. I mean, clearly, this is my only thing. Everything else, this episode right here, with its minimal amount of action that was in it, but at the same time, it had a lot of slow parts in it. But this slow parts were a lot better than the beginning of the series' slow parts. I can stomach these because this gave you a lot more information, not basically watching the first 2 episodes and being like, okay, are we going to do something anytime soon? So,
right. All right. Well, we have given our rating, so we've got a couple messages and then some feedback. So let's get into some messages. Hey guys, thanks for doing the podcast. I'm really liking Hawkeye. I'm a little sad thinking this might be our last time with him. I'm having some anxiety about him getting killed off in this series. He keeps mentioning his family that he'll be home soon, and I feel like this is foreshadowing that something bad will happen. After this last episode, I'm really curious about Laura's background. Clearly, she has some spy intelligence skills. On a lighter note, I'm liking Kate's character as well. But it makes me think of times I have been working on something around the house and one of my kids wants to help. Occasionally, they are much more helpful than I would expect. Anyhow, thanks for the great work. And that came to us from Jason. So a lot of people have been talking about, and me included, if Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye is going to be killed off in this series. I think it would be a real injustice if they kill the character off. I would rather just see that the culmination of I'm tired of doing this, like we've been talking about.
And I would agree with that. I mean, he's had such a terrible life in the last 5 to 6 years. I mean, yeah, he's an Avenger, but again, it's taken a toll on him. And just basically letting him go and just go to his family, and then that's the end of it. That I feel that's a better send off than him dying. But I get what he's talking about. I mean, how many times can he keep on saying, I'm going to be home, I could be home, before you start thinking, oh, is that really what's about to happen?
Right. And I think, the timing, this last episode being, right before Christmas?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a terrible, send-off for this series?
Yeah. It would.
Merry Christmas. He's dead.
I don't think that if that happens. But if that happens, I'm not going to be giving it a very good rating at all. But what happens if it's by the hands of Kingpin?
Wow. Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay.
But then how do you wrap that up? This is the only reason I don't think they're going to kill him next week, is because you have to then tie that up. And are you going to wait another how many ever years to get a series that'll deal with that? Or are you just going to say he went off into the sunset, but somebody's going to have to deal with Kingpin?
Yeah,
you know.
I don't know. So, I mean, he's not going to end up dealing with them because
he can't.
No, he can't.
There's not enough time, and you need that Kingpin character to continue on. He's got other things to do that we are probably pretty confident about at this point in time, but we won't spoil.
Kingpin is a staple and is very resilient to being killed, bro.
Yeah, he is. All right. I like that. I like the whole message. That was great. Thank you, Jason. And this next message, it's got a part I can't read because in Michigan it's a swear word. Love the podcast. Started listening a year ago with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then Falling Skies. Now all the Mouse House Plus stuff. Great content despite Hank being from Michigan and representing that team up north. Go. I can't say those words. Those are swear words in Michigan. I can't say go whatever you're saying. But this was from Mr. Carter. Thank you, Mr. Carter, for sending that in, despite your choice of college football team. All right. And now we're on to a piece of feedback we got from Elizabeth. And Elizabeth, there's one thing you did in this email that I just was like, oh my gosh, it just crushed me, crushed my spirit. The email was titled, John was right. I was like, no! I almost deleted it. Unread delete.
Where's my applause? Where's my stars or whatever? Where's my thank you.
There we go. You got it. But, yeah, despite that, I'll still read the email. Hi, Hank and John. I've only heard of Kingpin as a villain in Daredevil comics and don't know anything about him. In the last episode, does the Bartons' ability to converse in German refer to anything in their past? I thought Jack was the only person to worry about, but Eleanor must be more than she seems. Last week, I wondered why someone who owns a multi-million-dollar security company doesn't do background checks on people she dates. Yes, perfect. And then things are really getting interesting. So how are they going to wrap everything up in one episode? And that is from Elizabeth. Let's tackle these one at a time. Cliff notes on Kingpin. I always knew him as a Spider-Man villain from comics and stuff. He always wanted to crush the bug. But he is a Daredevil in Marvel's live action stuff. He's a kind of a Daredevil bad guy now.
Well, I mean, how I was first introduced to him would have been the Spider-Man animated series that they had back in the 90s. And he was front and center, prominent bad guy. No, and what you're saying is absolutely correct, because you start going down the Daredevil pantheon. Daredevil dealt with a lot of like street violence and personnel, thieves, crooks. I mean, the same stuff that Spider-Man was, but Spider-Man had a lot larger portfolio of bad guys that were against him versus Daredevil. I mean, Daredevil's main two people are Elektra and Bullseye. And when they did that movie, they were both in it. So who's the one who's pulling the strings and doing everything? Well, I mean, it's going to be Kingpin. The other thing, too, is Kingpin basically rules New York. If you're a character that's based in New York, which is all the Defenders, Fantastic Four, the Avengers for, certain part, let me see, Spider-Man, there, in some way or form, you're going to run into him or deal with him or deal with something that he was involved with, because that's what happened. So in the comic books, it could have been anybody there. So
good stuff. And then what about the Bartons' ability to converse in German?
No, I totally believe that she was an agent. I'm hands down. She's got to be. There's no way that he's gonna like go through all of this and she's gonna be as calm as she is during the rough time that he's having if she has not experienced such things as well.
Okay, I like it. And then Eleanor being much more than she seems, I really think that she could carry forward as a villainous character in some other series. Do you think that's possible?
Yep, absolutely.
And I think she's going to have real strong connections with like Hogarth and stuff like that. I think she's going to have some kind of they're going to intertwine some of these characters at some point. We'll see. We'll see. We get some flashbacks or something, how they know each other and all this stuff.
Yep.
And then Elizabeth bringing up the background check like I was talking about. So I 100% agree. Like that would be, you'd be remiss if you didn't do a background check on somebody.
I mean, honestly, it's an abuse of power, but if it's at your fingertips, why don't you use it? Let's put it this way. If people don't realize this, all your arrest records are public knowledge.
Right.
So you could just look up your friends. So in Maryland, I just do Maryland judicial system, and then I get a website, and the only thing you have to do is put people's names in, and boom, it brings up every single time that said person is arrested. If I'm bored at work, I'll just go there and start just going through people I know, being like, yeah, let's see what's up with people. So I mean it's fun because typically you don't find anything, but sometimes you do, and then sometimes it's just like crazy. I've got stories I'll have to tell you all at some other time. I don't think that's necessarily this type podcast appropriate, but you're finding out back end things. It's not even a word of mouth. You're getting official documentation stating of what all is going on with this person. And then sometimes you get timelines, and you're just like, oh, this is crazy. So it's an abuse of power, but it's something that they have access to, and yeah, why not? It would make sense. I mean, I'm surprised that she's just not running checks on every single person she meets.
Right. That would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
And then how are they going to wrap everything up in one episode? This is going to be hard, man. I have a bad feeling that we're potentially going to feel shortchanged in one way or another.
Do we know how long the next episode is? Isn't it like 45 minutes?
I am not 100% sure, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie.
I'll go to IMDb and see if they've got any information.
Because it's on the 22nd of December.
All right, let's see.
I found a trailer and stuff, but I cannot find the runtime.
Well, there's no information about a season 2, so all right, 1.6. No, I don't see any information on a runtime, so
darn it. But it should be amazing. I hope it is well done. But if they fail to answer several questions, then I'm going to be extremely, extremely disappointed.
Yep. Same here.
But all right. One last thing I'll say is that'd be cool if the new Black Widow helps him fake his death, so everybody seemingly gets what they want, and he can go off into the sunset.
Yep.
That'd be kind of cool.
That would be pretty cool.
And then the people that filmed it would be like, yeah, he dies in the series, I'm releasing all these spoilers. And you'd be like, no, we wanted you to leak that because it's wrong. Yeah. That'd be cool. But anything else, John?
No. I'm glad this series has finally picked up like it has.
It's about time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe to the podcast if you haven't done so already. Head to tpenetwork.com/subscribe for this and all the other shows we do on TPE Network. For John, I'm Hank. Until the next time, we're signing off.
Bro.
TPE Network. There ain't nothing else like it.